I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Good. Welcome to season 3 of Trust Me, Bro.
Yes, sir.
How,
Go.
yes, sir. How was the action this weekend? How'd you do on your? What do you got? 4 leagues? Is that right?
Yeah, got 4 leagues. Took 1 win.
1 win? Yeah, me too.
1 win. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It was. Some of my players just didn't show up. I think a lot of people could say that, but
Yep.
not too. Not anything to freak out about, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel the same way, man. I'm in 5 leagues this year, and I only won 1 league. And
Okay.
I noticed that of the 5 leagues, 2 of them I was the second highest scorer in the entire league, right?
Oh,
And so, had I played anybody other than the teams that I played in those 2 leagues, I would have smoked them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those deals that, a scheduling thing, right? So if I would have been scheduled someone else, I would be 3-2 right now, but those are the breaks.
Exactly, man. Yep. Hey, man, it's week 1. No time to freak out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
let it play out. So that's why we do this.
Yep.
See if we can better our roster.
Yep, exactly. It's a long season. So we've got, 18 weeks, right? So this is just week 1. So 17 more to go.
That's right.
Yep. So I know we talked a little bit about, this season we're going to, try to tighten it up a little bit and firm it up as to where we're really just, focusing in on the guys that we would really want to pick up and feel confident starting, and not necessarily a whole lot of, just filler guys, right? So we're going to.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. We're going to use a star ranking this season too. So, a 1 or 2 stars, that's somebody maybe to look at, maybe not use a waiver wire pick on, but somebody to, keep an eye on if they're out there on Wednesday morning or, you're kind of in a pinch on Friday or Saturday, somebody to look at.
Yep.
But a 3 or 4 worth of waiver wire.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And just for our viewers, Craig and I, we value our waiver wire priorities. And so if we're sitting there with number 1 or number 2 waiver wire priority, it's smart to keep those in the bank and not blow them, on just a random waiver wire player. You want to save those for the star rookie that goes down, and then to get that backup, that nobody's got. Those are the opportune moments that you want to, save those for. And so, use them sparingly is what I'm saying for the audience, Craig. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If it's somebody that's not going to play in your lineup next week, unless it is like you mentioned, the backup to somebody that went down for the season, and you kind of want to see how they do or something like that, that's worth it. But for the most part, if they're not going to start next week, then it's not worth a waiver wire pick.
Yeah, exactly. We can get those, if you wake up early and, get those guys on Wednesday morning. If you set your alarm for 5:30 in the morning or something like that, then, have at it that way. So early bird gets the worm, right?
That's damn right.
Okay. All right, brother. Well, let's get into the picks. I've got the spreadsheet pulled up on my other screen, so I guess we'll just work our way down through the spreadsheet, and you can hit us up with the first QB on the spreadsheet.
Yeah. So I've got Baker Mayfield down. Got him as a 3-star.
Yep.
He's got a lot of targets to throw to. He's 34% owned in ESPN leagues. Almost cracked the 300 mark this week with 289 yards, 4 touchdowns. Got one to Evans, to Godwin.
2 Devons, wasn't it?
2 Devons, yeah.
That's right.
He's even got that McMillan rookie who looks pretty decent too. So he's got a ton of targets. The division's a little weaker too. So he's somebody in a 2-quarterback league. Absolutely. You may not find him sitting out there in a 2-quarterback league, but if you're looking for a good backup, maybe if you had Jordan Love or something like that, Baker's your dude.
Yep. Absolutely, brother. Completely agree. Yeah, he caught my attention too with the 4 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. Only 34% owned, so he's out there if you need a quarterback. So good pickup. All right, next up is Let's see. Actually, I'm going to go with one of the guys. I'm going to go with, bottom up, if you don't mind, and then you can talk about your guy. So I'm going to go with Justin Fields, and so I have him down at the bottom here. Only 14% owned. I actually put a 3-star ranking on him. His performance week 1 was not indicative of a 3-star ranking, so I want to caveat that. But the 3-star ranking comes from the body of work, throughout the past season or so. And what I saw as far as fantasy goes, right? He's not a good real life quarterback, but he's a great fantasy quarterback because he can get you 100 yards, pretty consistently. He's one of those guys that, like you said last season, he's a running back who can throw the ball, right? Yeah. And so, in 2 QB leagues, he's exciting to own. I like him. Only 14% owned. He had 57 rushing yards. I think he was able to set up, I believe, 6 field goals. So if you're looking for a kicker, the Steelers kicker, he's definitely a gold mine there, if that's consistent. But he didn't convert, any passes to touchdowns, and so he may be a little rusty, working with that offense and the offensive coordinator and the scheme. But I do think, based upon his previous body of work as a fantasy quarterback, he has some promise there. So,
yeah, it's like you and I talked about a few weeks ago, where they got Russ Wilson to back him up. He sat out because of the calf. Hopefully Fields gets another shot at this next week and kind of prove himself and steal the job, and then let him go, cut him loose. Let him be Justin Fields. Let him run. For 120 yards. Let him just take off,
right?
And be that great fantasy quarterback that we need. You've got Russ Wilson to back him up. It's a perfect scenario just to let the guy loose. So
exactly.
You got him for pretty cheap. You got Russ Wilson for cheap. So let's let it rip.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, because just keep Russ out there, because I think that at this stage in his career, he's reached that backup quarterback phase of his career, I believe. Kind of like Ryan Tannehill and several others. And I do believe that, like you just said, they have an insurance policy named Russ Wilson. So I say, just like you said, let Fields cook and see what happens. So, yep. All right, who you got next?
Yeah, my next one's Matt Stafford, 35% owned, 2-star ranking on him.
Yep.
We kind of know what Matt Stafford is at this point. Was he in year 16 or 17 of his career? But that's a passing offense. He makes about 37 attempts a game. Especially if they get down, he's up in the 40s and 50s, throwing attempts. So Cooper Kupp, hell of a target. We saw Puka go out. By the way, what happened to that Tutu? We had Puka and Tutu last year.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. He's the wide receiver 4 on their depth chart, and he's still there, but real far down the depth chart. So
yeah. Well, he was still spreading the ball around quite a bit. And he'll throw a lot of times from the 5-yard line. He'll throw it to Kyron Williams. So he's a good steady Eddie for you. Get you anywhere from 18 to 26 points in that range somewhere. But a nice little fill in. 2-quarterback league, go get him. Probably not out there, but he's solid too.
Yeah, totally agree. I like Matthew Stafford. I think he's, like you said, had a great career, and he has a great chemistry with Cooper Kupp. I think he saw 21 targets. I may be wrong about that, but I think something like that last night.
Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah. 14 or 21 or something.
Right, yeah. So he definitely loves to throw to Cooper Kupp, and that seems to be a great connection. So, with those games, in a strong running game, he could be a decent quarterback for you, especially in a 2 QB league. And with only being 35% owned, he's out there. So if you need a QB, go get him.
Yep.
All right. Last quarterback we're going to talk about tonight is Derek Carr. I only gave him a 1-star ranking. He's only 10% owned. He had 200 passing yards for the Saints yesterday. He did throw for 3 touchdowns. So that was they did put a stomping on the Panthers. So obviously the Saints won't get to play the Panthers every week, So they're playing the Cowboys up next. The Cowboys D, totally different than the Panthers D. So they're going to be in for a rude awakening when they get to get out of the locker room and go play some football in Arlington. And so,
I completely agree with that 1-star. He's somebody to keep an eye on. He's again, going to be pretty steady Eddie. I am interested to see, though. This is a revamped offense that they're running, with the Saints, and it seems to click. We didn't really see much of Olave yesterday. I don't know what he ended up doing actually, but we saw more of Shaheed. But
he looked good.
Hey, putting up 3 touchdowns, do that every week. Yeah, you're right there. With the Cowboys coming up against bad D's, good D's, he's probably not your dude.
No, but yeah, if he's a streamer, I would say if he's got a sweetheart matchup, against a cupcake matchup, then sure, plug him in if you need him. Only 10% owned, not much else to say about him. But I was to say for the Love owners, we did have Love go down. He's going to be out for. I think they're going to. They didn't put him on IR today, so I think that they're. If he was on IR, that'd be 4-game minimum. So I guess they're thinking 3 games. I don't know, maybe less. I'm not sure what the prognosis was, but I think he was the only QB that went down yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to running backs. Who you got first, Craig?
I'll throw out Alexander Madison.
Yep.
I've got a 1-star on him.
Sure.
We're not using a waiver wire pick on him. He's 10% owned.
Yeah.
But he's a receiving back. I always like those. Minshew likes to dump it off too. He's not a huge deep ball thrower. He's not pushing the ball down the field 20, 30 yards every play. So a back like that can have success. He was 4 of 6 on his targets, 43 yards and a touchdown. So, it seemed like when I was watching, he was out there just as much or more than Zamir White. So, so he could be in that, kind of 10, 15 point range pretty consistently every day.
Yeah. Like you said, he's in a timeshare. I have, pretty high hopes, I believe, for Zamir White. I think he had a really strong finish to the season last year.
He did.
He did really good when Josh Jacobs was out for the Raiders, and he put up some pretty strong games. I remember riding him into the fantasy playoffs, and he took me pretty deep into the fantasy playoffs as a fill-in for Josh Jacobs. So, but as far as Madison goes, I did have him with the Vikings last year. I picked him up after Cook didn't re-sign or whatever happened to him. I think he went to the Jets, right? And so anyway, I thought Madison would be a plug-and-play guy because he always looked good when in those weeks that Cook was out. He'd be a guy that would put up the 20-plus points, as a solid fill-in. And I was hoping, when he was the main guy, that he would do well, but that didn't quite materialize last year. So I'm a little cautious on him personally, but I do agree that, with the cupboard as barren as it is, at this stage of the fantasy season, he'd be a good one to like you said, 1-star, go ahead and grab him and put him on your bench and see if something materializes. And it's a new city, Vegas, new scheme. So he may be a better fit out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. All right. Next up, I have a J.K. Dobbins. He's 50% owned on the Yahoo side. He rushed for 135 yards and a touchdown. And so he looked like a vintage performance from back when he was originally drafted for the Baltimore Ravens. He does have a pretty lengthy injury history. I put 3 stars on him only because that was a dynamite performance, from somebody that's 50% owned on the waiver wire right now. He's out there in half the leagues. And so, if you can grab a running back off the waiver wire that just did 135 yards and a touchdown, that's a good find right there. I do own him. Yeah, for sure. I do own him in one league. And so, I know you and I have similar philosophies where we play in multiple leagues. And so we don't want to load up, with the same player on too many of our rosters. But, like you said, I do believe he would be worth a waiver wire claim because I do think that he's going to have a pretty bright future over there in San Diego or Los Angeles now for the Chargers. So that's a good one to go get.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. And, me, half of all the other fantasy owners out there, probably overlooked him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how good of a running team Baltimore is outside of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Well, no, he's with the Chargers now, but yeah.
I know, but I kind of judged him on that.
Oh, yeah, got you. Yeah.
Now he's in Harbaugh's system, and Harbaugh likes to run the ball.
Right. Yep.
So, as long as he can stay healthy, like you mentioned, he's got a bright future for sure.
Yep. And even if he doesn't stay healthy, there's a rookie running back, waiting in the wings that we can talk about on a future episode that I think would be a fantastic guy to pick up. So yeah, we'll just roll with him until the wheels fall off. So not a bad one to go with. So, okay. Very good. Who you got next?
Cool. Man, I've got, Jordan Mason. I didn't even grab his last stats. I think he ran for about 148 yards tonight.
Yeah.
Touchdown, had some catches too.
That's great.
He balled out.
Mm-hmm.
2-star on him. He probably will have some timeshare, at least in the near future, with CMC. If CMC comes back next week, then it might be on a limited basis. He'd be a good little fill-in for you, and that's a hell of a running scheme to run in. They block well. They'll open it up for just about anybody. I'm not saying you and I can go out there and gain 100 yards behind that offensive line, but somebody that plays football could.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I think that was his first ever start in the NFL, and I guess the stats they were showing tonight on Monday Night Football was, pretty sparsely used in the past. But you're right; he looked really good. He's a good pickup, especially for people that have CMC that just didn't get the handcuff and didn't buy an insurance policy for CMC. Yep. He's definitely somebody to go get. Considering he's 37% owned, so he's out there in 63% of the leagues. So yeah, he's a good guy to go pick up if you need a running back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up, I put down Zach Charbonnet only because a K9, Kenneth Walker III. He got a little banged up. He got pulled out of the game, I believe, in the fourth quarter, and he told the media afterwards that he was fine. And so I don't know. We'll see though. As the week progresses, if sometimes you got the adrenaline pumping at the end of the game, and you're like, whatever, I'll be fine. Yeah, and then you get the soreness sets in the next day. So yeah, I haven't seen any reports today saying that he's going to be out this weekend, but you never know, right? So this would be a good insurance policy, Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, I think it was an abdomen injury. That's why I kind of steered clear of Walker in the drafts. And he's good. He looks good in the games, but that dude gets hurt more than anybody. So
right.
Kind of steered clear of him. So yeah, Charbonnet is great. Great handcuff for him, and somebody to potentially go look at.
2 stars on him.
Yeah, 2 stars on him. So this next one, I 100% agree with. Blake Corum.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both are very high on him.
Yep.
He had 27 TDs last year from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Just tore it up, and he backs up Kyron Williams. Didn't even see the field this week. But as much as they use Kyron, there's a chance that same thing could happen to him. This year.
Yep.
Sits out 4 games, something like that. Corum comes in, and I don't know if he, lets go with the spot after that. So
that's right.
He's one of those. I think that towards the end of the season, you'll be sure glad you picked him up.
Oh yeah, totally agree. He's the type of guy that you want to move on now, because when Kyron goes down, it's going to be way too late. Everybody's already got him. I'm surprised to see that he's 66% owned already. So I know we moved our threshold up from 50 to 70. For this season, but yeah, I thought he would be 34% owned, and 66% available, but it's actually the opposite way, at least on the Yahoo side. And so I think that 27 touchdowns and winning the national championship for the Michigan Wolverines definitely got people's attention. He's definitely not a sleeper. Everybody's wide awake on Blake Corum. So, but yeah, he could be a league winner. If something happens to Kyron Williams, just like last year. I mean, Kyron Williams went down for, what'd you say earlier, 4 games? Maybe it was longer. I forget. But he was out for a good chunk of that season last year. And that could, not that we wish anything, to happen to him, but if it does, it'd be best to be prepared with Blake on your bench now. I own.
I was going to say, I think you were about to say it, man. If you have Kyron Williams, you absolutely should have Corum.
I do. I own Kyron Williams in 2 leagues, and I've got Corum on both already. So backing him up.
Well done.
Yep. Okay. All right. Let's see. Last one is Tyler Johnson, 0% owned.
I moved him, brother. He's actually a receiver.
Okay. Oh, okay. My bad. All right. Yeah. Well, let's move on to receivers then. Let's hit me with that first one. I think you got Alec Pierce to talk about.
Yeah, man. I mean, another time, I look up and every time I'm getting flashed on the Indianapolis game, it's him catching, bomb down the field. So him and Richardson have a good chemistry. He looked good last year too. Like that. He had flashes last year where he looked really good.
Yeah.
It just seemed like he was the main target, but he only had 3 balls, so I guess I just saw every one of them. They were all bombs, but caught 3 for 3, 125 yards and a touchdown. So,
right, yeah. 3 catches for 125 yards. That's efficiency right there, man. That's fantastic, man.
Exactly.
Wow.
If he's going to be a deep threat for Richardson, and Richardson seems to like to bomb it down the field.
Yeah.
It's pretty steady, or pretty good, I guess, shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll keep an eye on him, and what you got, 2 stars on him. Somebody to keep an eye on and see if that usage is consistent or if this was a flash in the pan. Only time will tell. But yeah, you're right. He has performed in the past, last year. Yep. So good wide receiver there. Only, what'd you say, 0.5 or just 5%, right? So out there in 95% of the leagues.
0.5.
So 0.5. Okay. 99.5. All right.
Radar.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Mom, got him on their league. That's about it.
Yep, that's right, man. And he was one of the highest scoring wide receivers for the entire NFL this weekend. So he was probably in the top, 5%, in fantasy production from the wide receiver slot. So, yep, he's out there. Go get him. All right. Next up is let's see. You see, I'm going to go ahead and talk about I'll talk about Alan Lazard. I thought I thought he looked pretty good tonight. He did score 2 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers. Looks like he saw 9 targets. Right, he caught 6 of them for 89 yards, and so it's obvious that Aaron Rodgers trusts him. And I had put Mike Williams down on this list, earlier today before the game started, and I'm not sure what his production was today, but
he didn't play.
Didn't even play. Okay, yeah. So let's just sleep on him for a while. But Alan Lazard is a 3-star wide receiver, and so I think that the connection there with Aaron Rodgers is promising. Right there with, of course, Garrett Wilson's the alpha, and then this guy's the beta, I guess. But not bad.
Yeah, okay. I agree, man. I mean, he was definitely getting targeted tonight. So
yep.
That's a pretty good one. I've got Brandon Cooks, so he's 29% owned. Clear number 2 in Dallas.
Yeah.
Why I think he'd be good over the next couple of weeks is Ferguson went down with a knee injury. They haven't even ruled him out for this week, this coming week. But there's a good chance he misses a week or 2. He's got a sprained MCL, so.
Yep. You're right.
That's a 2 to 3 week injury. Even if he's out there, he's not going to be as productive. So, I think that just raises the stock a little bit for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, totally agree. Because the only other tight end they got, I think they drafted him in the 3rd round back in 23, was Shoemaker is the other tight end for the Cowboys. And so I don't know, how much game experience he's got or if he's mainly a blocker. I'm really not sure what the profile is on Shoemaker. So I think you're spot on, Craig. That Cooks will probably stoke up some of those Fergie targets. So that's a good call. Yeah. Very nice. Okay. All right.
2 stars on him, by the way.
Yeah, 2 stars on Cooks. Okay. Yeah, he's had an illustrious career with the Patriots and then I forget what other teams, but he's been around.
Houston.
Yeah, Houston. That's right.
I think he was with the Rams. I don't know if he was with the Patriots.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then we're going to skip Mike Williams for now. We're not going to talk about him, but so why don't you move us on to the other one, Shaheed?
Yeah. You feel the need?
Yep.
Need for Shaheed.
Yes. I do like it.
100% owned. Yeah, man. He's clear number 2.
Yep.
New Orleans also. And like I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Carr, I like this new offense. It seems like they're trying to get the ball down the field. He was 3 for 5, 73 yards and a tutty. But again, it seemed like he was, clear in front of the action. I think he also returns punts too.
Okay.
So, if you're in a league that rewards that, it's a nice little bonus for him. I've got 3 stars on him, man. I think he's going to be a consistent producer this year.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, on the leagues that reward, a point for every 10 yards on the, kick returns and punt returns, he's definitely a cheat code there for Rashid Shaheed. Yep. I like it. It's a good one. Yeah. All right, so let's get rid of. Let's move on to tight ends. You want to start off with the guy who's the most likely? Okay, all right. I'll start us off. Isaiah Likely. I know you and I both had him. We got him as 2 stars. I think that's a pretty good ranking right there. I would be tempted to maybe bump it up to 3, only if I thought that production was going to remain consistent. He did see a dozen targets, caught 9 of them for 111 yards and a touchdown. He looked great. He was out there just soaking up the targets from Lamar Jackson. The only caution I have, of course, is that Mark Mandrews is still out there, and so with Mandrews, obviously is the number one. Is Mandrews slowing down? Is that why Likely blew up, like he did on last Thursday night? And I don't know. I guess time will tell, right? But I'm definitely in need of a tight end because I have Ferguson for the Cowboys, and like we just said, he went down, and I don't know if they put him on IR, and I don't think so, and so he's probably out about the same amount of time as Jordan. Jordan Love. So he could be out for 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, I think I'll probably be spending a waiver wire pick to get this guy. So.
Yeah. I liked him, It very well could have been scheme. They were covering Mark Andrews pretty heavily, which left Likely open,
Yep.
So, that could be a pretty good reason why he got so many targets, had such good production. But I still think there's a good chemistry there. Zay Flowers is probably the clear number 1 receiver there. Other than that, they really don't. Bateman and, it's just a bunch of spares as far as I'm concerned. So it's Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Likely.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So,
yep.
And he's definitely receiving tight end. He's not a blocking tight end. So
right.
Yeah, man. I think that production will be pretty consistent through the year. So I kind of like him. So we started to talk about him earlier, but Luke Shoemaker. Or Schoonmaker, 2%. Yeah. 0.2% owned. So again, his mom, a few others have him on their fantasy squads, but he's probably got himself on there.
Yeah.
Ferguson missing time. Yeah, he was a second round pick in 23. He is very talented, man. He is a pass catcher. So he's not a blocking tight end by any means.
Okay.
He had some flashes last year where he was, catching the ball, but it was pretty crowded there. Last year there was somebody else that was maybe that Hendershot, but he's the next man up. So, he'll be out there for the next, probably a couple games at least.
Yep.
So I imagine that it might be a little bit of a slow start, getting that trust level built up, but we could see what he's got. At least we get a chance to see what he has.
Yeah. So if you're a Fergie owner and you don't get Isaiah Likely, then, to take a shot at the Shoemaker.
Yep. And I got 2 stars on him also.
Okay.
So
awesome. Yep. All right. Well, let's fire through. If we want to keep this under 30 minutes, let's do a rapid fire on these streaming defenses for next week. So hit me with the first one.
Yeah, first one I've got, man, is Washington. They've got the Giants coming up. Giants are looking awful this year, so I think they're a good play.
Okay, and then I've got the Chargers coming up. I think are they playing the Panthers? I forget. They're playing somebody bad. I noticed. Carolina. There you go. Okay. So, and then hit me up with the last one, Indy.
Indianapolis. They're playing Green Bay. This is one of those, you got backup quarterback coming in.
Yep.
Worth a decent shot.
Got it. Okay. And then for kickers, let's see. You've got I guess I'll say Jason Saunders. I've got him for the Miami Dolphins. He had a pretty decent game for me. I think he got me 9 points. Just shy of 10. Pretty good.
He got 9 points. They're playing Buffalo, so I feel like that's a pretty good matchup for him to have some points. I think he'll have a big week. The one I'm really looking at is Blake Gropey. He had 22 points. I didn't even know that, but he had 22 points last week or this week.
He's with the Saints, right?
Dallas, yeah.
Okay.
Dallas coming up. We haven't even really seen Dallas's red zone defense as much. Cleveland was so awful, but I could see a couple 50-yarders, and then maybe a few other field goals. So I think he has a big week.
Yep, totally agree, brother. All right, well, listen, it's we're right at the 30-minute mark, so we'll be back at you next Monday night for the rest of the season for 17 more weeks. Thank you, brother.
Yep. Good luck out there in the waiver wire, guys.
All right, good luck.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night. Peace.
See ya.